We're going to check in with our man who knows all about Brexit. It's Ian Terminable. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Jack.
We're about to hit the next stage of Theresa May's Brexit negotiations. What's her strategy?
That's very funny.
I'm serious.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I think I can illustrate this with a story from this week.
Well, like an actual true story and not a comedy sketch.
Yes, though it is hard to tell the difference. Basically, Angela Merkel asked Theresa May what relationship she wants with the EU after Brexit, to which Theresa May replied, "Make me an offer."
Okay.
And then Merkel says, "You're leaving. We don't have to make you an offer. What do you want?"
And what does May say then?
She just says, "Make me an offer again."
How does this end?
It doesn't.
Right.
It just goes on like a never-ending vortex of hell.
Yes. The EU has presented its negotiating objectives for the next stage, which is to do the transition period. How has this gone down with Tory Brexiteers?
Terribly, as always.
Why is that?
Well, as ever, Brexiteers argue that this is just an extension of EU rule which flouts the referendum result.
Well, that's not a totally unreasonable point.
But there's also a hint of them thinking Europe should just give us what we want because they still owe us one from 1940. Seriously, they just keep mentioning the film Darkest Hour in the Commons for no reason.
So what are the main sticking points?
Rights for EU nationals after the Brexit leaving date, but before the end of the transition. Theresa May says absolutely not, but the EU says it's non-negotiable.
And do we have any leverage over them?
I think the real question is, why aren't Brexiteers gladly accepting this extension?
How do you mean?
Do you remember Vote Leave's first ad?
Yes, it depicted a struggling NHS that was made all the better and far less crowded after we left the EU.
Whereas what's happened so far is the referendum triggered a 96% fall in the number of EU nurses registering to work here.
So with more nurses leaving the profession than staying in the NHS in crisis, we actually really need EU nurses.
Yes, right now. It's as plain as a big red bus.
But no one in the government is going to say this because...
They don't have the guts to point out that when someone has to put their finger up your arse, you don't care which country they come from.
So, as we get closer to Brexit, do you think it's fair to say that the government doesn't have a clue what it's doing?
Well, that's a very complicated and difficult question, but the overly simplistic answer is no.
And the more complex answer?
Fuck no.